Testing. Is the microphone working? Testing. Is the microphone working? Yeah, Goob is here. Oh, okay, I guess. Yeah, it's... Testing. Okay, oh man, this is... Yeah, this is so delayed. Testing, is the microphone working? I know! Oh, I know, that's so bad. Hey, where's the... Oh, there we go. Sorry, baby. Okay, one second. I need to share it to Facebook, too! Sorry, baby. Okay, one second. I need to share it to Facebook, too! Sorry, baby. Hey, okay, one second, Goob. Okay, one second, Goob. Alrighty. Okay, I shared it to Facebook. You're gonna get famous, Goob. Everybody's gonna know about you. Okay, so... Alright, so I guess you're here now, you can hear me, so... I guess we'll get into it. Okay, so we're, okay. So Goob made a list on stuff that he wanted to kind of cover tonight. And I was thinking about this all day. I was so hyped for it, and now I'm like off work and I'm like tired, but still kind of hype. Okay, so Goob came up with a list of 10 things. So let's set the premise. Goob is like floor 8, floor 9, sometimes floor 10, but he wants to hit Celestial. So we're basically gonna help him reach that goal. So he came up with a list of stuff. So I'm gonna help him on the list of stuff, but I'm also gonna like put my own thoughts on it too, and we'll see how it applies. So yeah. Okay. So first on the list, he has frame traps. Okay. So all right, Goob, let's work on frame traps. So first of all, what is a frame trap? Frame trap is, it's basically when you're like attacking, and depending on the frame data, it's where the opponent has just a little bit of time to press a button, but not enough frames for the move to actually come out and hit you, which normally results in him getting counter hit. I'm Chad Teacher. I am the Chad Teacher. Okay, so we're gonna set it up. What is a counter hit? Or what is a frame trap? And this is like a good thing right here, because it'll show exactly what it is. Alright. Okay, so after block, we're gonna make Kai do like, what is it? Yeah, here we go. Like the fastest attack that you can do after blocking. Okay, so here's the frame trap. So I have it set here. So basically that's gonna happen. Alright, Goob, you're paying attention, right? So that's something that happens in your games all the time, right? And you're always saying like, I try and do this setup and it never works. I'm trying to frame trap. You know, people just mash out. It's so annoying. Okay, so what do you do? So you the list, you put frame traps, so that's perfect. So let's talk about one thing. See, right there. See, maybe sometimes you're doing that. That's not a real frame trap, as you can clearly see, because he's slapping you out of it, right? So, like, doing that's not gonna work. But this one here, this is a natural frame trap. See, like, if they try and mash out... Well, okay, the only frame traps I know is 5K to 6H. Okay, so yeah, that's like... There's probably like a lot more setups that you could do, but that's like just a simple basic one. And you know what? Guess what? Like, I got I got to Celestial just by doing that, you know? Just by doing this frame trap right there, you know? Like, that simple thing right there is so simple, but it'll carry you so far. You don't need... Like, that's one thing I wanted to kind of cover with you. Like, you don't need all these elaborate, super complicated setups, you know? Because, like, this is a setup right there. Like, you know, like... hold on. I don't want him to do that. Like, that's a setup right there, but he has to do a slower move. You know, faster. A slower move that's slower than a jab, you know? And sometimes there's no need to, like, overcomplicate it. Just do the simple thing that's guaranteed to work, you know? You're not going to get mashed out of it. And also, this move is safe on block, so if you... Like, what's this? Yeah, see, he can't even hit you. Like, if he blocks it, you know, like, okay, yeah, maybe you give up your turn at worst, but he can't punish you. But again, with the frame trap. So, yeah, instead of doing all these crazy, you know, elaborate stuff, just let this thing alone carry you. Because, like, look how much damage this is. So that's like just off of a basic comp. That's a basic bread and butter, you know. There's no meter. You don't need, you know. There's no meter involved. There's no super. There's nothing. All it is just a counter hit off of a simple frame trap. So talking about frame traps, that's like a good example. Bombos? What? No! 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 I fell for it. All right, Goob. What is Bombos or Bombos? Yeah, go ahead and explain to the chat. I realized my mistake after it was too late. You call combos that do high damage bombos. Oh, okay. Okay, cause they hit like a bomb. Okay, I thought you were gonna hit me with like a suck on these nuts. Or suck on all these nuts. I thought I was gonna get hit with one of those. But yeah, so like, yeah, like consider that, right? So there, it like dropped. I don't like it when it drops, but. So look at that, like look at that right there. 219. You're not even at the wall, so it has great wall carry. You can hit confirm that your Foudre arc. So do you have any questions about that one right there? Like that's a frame trap right there. Oh no, Matt is in here, Matt. Ah! Okay, so let's see what's next on the list. Also, what's up, Booty Thrill? Okay, so that's like the basic frame trap right there. I mean, there's more elaborate stuff that you can do. Like right there. See if you okay, so remember how we were just talking about doing a could I go for 5k grab or 5k to 5k to mix it? Okay, yeah. Okay, so 1 second, Goob. You're getting a little ahead of yourself, or maybe a little ahead of the list. But like, okay, so I wanted to do like 1 through 10 on the list, but I'll go ahead and just cover what you said right there, because that seems to be like one of your biggest problems. So okay, so let's see. So let's say okay. So let's do this. 5k to 5k or 5k to tick throws. Okay, so let's see what happens. See, okay, so if you know that your opponent has a tendency to mash after everything you do, a tick throw is not going to work, and 5k to 5k to stagger pressure is not going to work, right? So this is one thing that you need to really start doing in your sets. You need to do You need to see where your opponent is at. Like, is he gonna be respecting your stuff? Is he very defensive? You know, like, basically, make him earn your respect. You know, don't give him the benefit of the doubt where it's like, oh, I need this super crazy can opener mix-up to open this guy up, right? Like, like I said, sometimes all you need to do is just keep it as simple as that, right? So, okay, so you want to do tick throws and 5k to 5k stagger. So there you go. You can do it, but that's after that your opponent has already demonstrated to you that he's respecting your pressure and your block strings and all that jazz. Like, if he hasn't earned your respect, then don't give him, don't give him the respect of being like, okay, well, I'm gonna do 5k to 5k, you know, because you're just gonna get mashed out of it, right? Matt showed up in the chat for a little bit.
Yeah, make him earn your respect, Goob.
That's the wife. She's fixing the mic because I guess it's not optimal. What are you doing?
It's optimal. I just wanted to be able to talk.
Huh?
I just wanted to be able to talk too.
Oh, but you're. Oh, Matt's still in here. Okay, so it's bugged again. It's bugged again. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, so Booty Thrill is my brother. For the chat.
Goob, have more respect for yourself.
Okay, so Goob, like, okay, so here's what I do in my games. Can you still hear me? I'm guessing you can still hear me because I'm loud at AF. But like, so here's like a good way. In my video, I made that little thing about knowledge checking. You know, like, hey, you don't like. So you're going into a game with somebody. You don't know what they know. You don't know how they play. You know, you don't know if they're like defensive or offensive or whatever. Okay, but Mike's been good 6-star. Okay, cool. So here, Goob, when you're playing, like, you can do the frame trap because, as we said already, it's safe. So you should make this a core part of your gameplay right here. Because it's safe, it gives you big damage, and you still have the option... Excuse me. I burped. You still have the option to use one of your enders too if you want to, right?
This is the content you guys come for.
Yeah, me burping.
Oh, gee.
Me burping in the mic. So that's why. Okay, so Goob, do you got it yet? Like, do you understand why I think you should be using this way more?
Yeah, he said that makes sense for sure earlier.
Okay. So I'm just gonna go over this part one more time. It's safe. You got your enders if you want to. It gives you big damage. It gives you good wall carry. You know, and it gives you a wall break too. So that's like, that's really good. My only problem is Zen and Noob conditioned me not to do it because they block it. Gonna start using it more. Okay, so they block it, right? You're saying, what part do they block? Do they block that? Right there, the counter hit part? Because if they're blocking that, what does that mean? That means they're blocking. That means you grab them. That means this thing right here turns into a tick throw instead of this right here. Alright, does that make sense to you?
The whole thing?
The whole thing.
So they block from the first hit?
Okay, he said, I hate this chat. I wish the delay wasn't so bad, because we're like a half hour ahead of Goob right now.
Half hour?
No, don't feel dumb, but like, that might be the thing that you need to work on, like, in your games, is you might be tunneling so hard to do whatever setup that you want to do, right? Maybe you need to change your philosophy. I'm so focused on doing it rather than my mix. Yeah, okay, yeah, so that's it. You're like tunneling, and, that's like natural. Some players have that. They tunnel, and they instead of like looking at what their opponent is doing, you're on autopilot and you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention to like the information that the opponent is giving you for you to like use and beat them, right? So like you don't want like if you're like let's say you're trying to tick throw, right? That happens and then it happens again. And it happens 3 times, that's like your cue right there to be like, hey, this guy's mashing out of everything that I'm doing right now. That means frame trap time. That means doing this right here. Alright? So it's really, so, yeah, like, I can't believe we're still on this thing. We're still on the frame trap part. Okay, so I hope you got that part. Cause we're gonna move on to the next thing that you have here. Getting pressure started. Okay, so the next thing Goob wants to talk about is getting pressure started. Okay, so there's like a couple of ways to do it. Okay, do you have any input, Gamer Bun?
No, I have no input.
You've been awfully quiet.
I am quiet.
Okay, so, getting pressure started. Well, so this game is like really really snowbally, right? So hey, you want to get pressure? Get a grab or okay, 1 second. Yeah, let's go, Matt.
Get in there, Matt.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to start pressure, Goob. All right, so here's how you start pressure. Bam, right there. So you grab or you do that guy right there. You already know about that, right? But, like, getting your opponent on the ground is basically, it's like a snowball thing for you. It's like a snowball situation because that's where your opponent has to, like, eat the mix-up, That's where your opponent has to, like, he's at a frame disadvantage, so that means he can't jab after waking up because he's going to get counter-hit. He's afraid to block because he might get grabbed, and then the onus is on you to just, throw out whatever random stuff that you want. It's up to your opponent to know what the heck you're gonna do, which is like a lot harder to know what you're doing, So, okay, so let's see here.
So starting pressure.
Starting pressure.
Like when you start pressure, so you want to get them on the ground or?
So that's okay, yeah. So that's like one way. So okay, so starting pressure. So one way. Okay, okay, Goob. So let's say we're in the neutral and you want to start pressure, right? Like naturally, you want to be pressuring your opponent. So there's like different ways to pressure your opponent, right? Sometimes, like, yeah, plus frames is great, right? Like that guy right there. Because, that's pressure. You're making him do something, and he's at a frame disadvantage. He has less options than you do. But also, you can pressure your opponent by spacing, too. Like, your positioning can be considered pressure, because, like, let's say you're in the neutral, right? Let's talk about what tools you have and where they're the strongest. So Kai has 5P and 2P, right? So this guy's really good. So like anywhere in this area, you're like this is a good pressure tool because it comes out so fast, and it has like super light, super low recovery frames and block stun too, right? So what? Oh. The wife looked at me. I was like,
I looked at him. Go ahead. Recovery and block stun. Yeah.
So like this guy right here is really good. Kai's is actually really good too. Like I've played a little bit of Ramlethal, and her 5P is like garbage range compared to Kai's. I think like her range is even worse than that. I think Kai has a pretty good 5P and 2P. So okay, so you're talking about pressure, like so pressure. Even if they, what's so funny?
Chat, how many times has he said talking about pressure in the last 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So pressuring basically means you're like putting your opponent in like, you know, like a disadvantageous spot. You know, like he's blocking, which means he's not attacking, which is great. And if he's blocking, that means you got like, you know, you got your mix of all like different keck. You got like that. It's your turn, so that's where like your setups and stuff come in, right? Because you're pressuring. But so I'm like getting way ahead of myself, and I'm getting excited. I'm sure you guys can tell. So okay, so let's see. Starting pressure.
Goob, is there anything in particular that you have issues with? Like, I know Luke's giving a lot of information right now, but like, is there something that you're comfortable with pressuring somebody, or is there something? I guess he's just mad.
No, Matt, this is my stream. Get your own stream, booty through. Okay, Matt's gonna say something amazing. No, go ahead, Matt.
Your comments are always welcome.
Yeah, cause Matt's gonna say something and it's gonna be amazing, and it's gonna be like, I didn't even think about that, and then I'll like do my best to like cover it at least.
And apparently Goob is going to try to translate himself.
Goob's Goob brain. Poor Goob. Like one thing okay, I kind of want to wait for them to say whatever they're saying before I keep talking. What?
Please stop burping.
I can't help it! I have gas in my tummy.
I know, but I'm like 2 feet away from you.
Yeah.
Ah.
You can approach into A.
Air?
Probably in the air, yeah.
So Goob is saying that when he's playing in the higher ranks, his opponents just don't give a shit about the mix, and they usually win the interaction.
Of my staggers and frame traps, and them just knowing frame data to a religious degree. And the match that we're approaching on the ground, if they're looking to anti-air your air dash and to put on pressure. Okay, yeah, I forgot about all the air dash and stuff. Okay, so for Goob, okay, so your problem is you have players who apparently just don't give a crap what you're doing, right? Well,
gotta thank that booty.
Yeah. So that's the thing where, so you need to make them earn your respect, right? They need, or what is it? They need to earn your respect. Like, if they're not respecting you, yeah, and they're just throwing buttons out, you need to make them respect. You need to make them respect the frame data that you're throwing at them, right? Like this guy right here, right? Like, once again, if they don't, this is what happens if they don't care. You know, if they don't care about you pressing buttons or whatever, that's what happens to them. That's why that's so good right there. Or once again, they don't care about what's going on and they're just mashing. 6P right there, you know. That's a frame trap right there as well. So that's the thing. Like, you need to even like 6K, they just don't care and win somehow. Yeah, so this guy right here, sometimes people don't respect that. I've had that too, where I'm like, hey, this is a plus frame move. I'm gonna like make them block it, and because they know that I'm plus, they're gonna block it, and then I'm gonna run and grab, right? Well, that doesn't happen. That happens, you know. That happens to me too, right? Like I try and use this for a setup, and they just mash out of it. So that just means that you need to make your frame trap a little bit tighter. You need to do faster moves that's impossible for them to mash out of. 6K is a move that you only use after you really scare them with everything else that's faster. Yeah, so that's just like Matt said, or just like Booty Thrill said. So you do this right here because of that. He said it's really slow, right? But it gives you +4. So when would you do that? Well, exactly what Matt said. Like after you've conditioned them to stop mashing out of this right here and stop mashing out of that right there. You know, once they start blocking, that's when this thing comes in handy. You know, because if they're just mashing, like, see, they'll just mash out of it. You know, if they don't have your respect, or if you don't have their respect, rather. And also on hit as well. You said like they're not respecting you even when they block it. They're just mashing out. Well, make them start respecting the plus frames by doing a way faster move. You know? See, like that right there, that'll hit them. That'll hit right there too, because it's impossible. You're +4, so it's impossible that they can mash out of 6K to 5P, 5P or 2P, because they just don't have enough frames. So, like that, I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, pressure is a thing that kind of comes later on. Because, like, it seems like you really have this problem with people just mashing out of your strings, and you're like, well, what do I do?
I think part of what you might need to work on as well is just having that backup plan. So if somebody does mash out or, you know, they hit you and they mash out of whatever it is that you're going for, you know what to follow up with as an alternate option.
Yeah, that's like a good thing. Like, just make it as simple as possible. Like, like start with this as your baseline right here, you know? And if they block it, then you can do that's when your 6K comes in, and your your grabs and stuff like that, right? But if they're just mashing and they're not respecting the fact that they're not respecting your extensions and they're not respecting plus frames, just freaking light them up all day. Just that, you know, you just do that all day until they start blocking it, you know? Does that help at all? Oh yeah, we were talking about pressure too. Cause like, I don't know, I feel like pressure is dependent on some like other premises that you need to have down first, you know? Like, it's almost like you need to be able to walk before you can run, you know? Cause like if you don't understand what to do when okay, you really need to work on frame traps, really. Okay, so I'm just gonna say no to that. Just work on this. Just use this guy right here. That's the only frame trap you need. I didn't do anything more advanced than this guy to get to Celestial. I promise you, that is all you need.
I'm a one-trick pony, so you should be too.
No, well, it's not. Well, hey, we already are one-trick ponies. We only play Kai, okay? That's all we play.
It was just so ridiculous. Like, I only ever use this, so this is all you ever need.
Well, here's the thing. Goob is trying to get to Celestial, right? So I'm just doing my best to help him get there.
Yeah.
6K, 2K, 2D is kind of disgusting, bro. This guy... Yeah, it is disgusting. But what happened? But that's the thing, like... So, like, that's kind of like an elaborate setup right there, right? That's like a perfectly good example. 6K, this slow-ass move right here, to 2K to 2D, right? It's a pretty cool setup, but, like, a lot of the opponents that you might be using it, you don't even need to use it, because, like, this guy right here is so slow, you know? And if your opponent, you need to understand that your opponent wants to pressure you as much as you want to pressure him. So you doing this move without having their respect is just gonna get you counter hit. People are gonna mash out of it. People are gonna counter hit you, and you're gonna lose so many opportunities on damage, right? So, and it's risky. Like this guy here is slow; they can mash out of it. Oh, he said 2D, not 5D. So that guy right there. Yeah. What?
I need to go to bed.
Okay, the wife is going to the bed now. So.
Bye, guys.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'm gonna try and talk quieter so I don't keep the wife up. Oh, okay. Okay, so I hope I made the case for this guy right here. Gamer Grill. So, like, you might be getting lost in the sauce. And, like, you might be overcomplicating. So, like, this is something that happens in other games, too, in Smash Brothers Melee, you know? Like, instead of, like, doing basic stuff that works, a lot of players want to do, like, these crazy combos, these crazy setups, because they see other players doing it, and they're like, and it's, you know, like, I get it, because it's, like, inspirational. It makes it, you know, you're like, oh, man, I saw this really cool setup, and I want to do it, too, you know? But there's a difference between somebody that's like at your level or my level, and then somebody who's like way better than us using these setups, you know, because there's like a bunch of premises that these good players are giving to their opponent, but there's no reason for us to be doing those crazy setups, because like we don't even know what they're capable of yet in terms of like, you know, play style, like are they defensive or defensive, you know? So like all of that stuff, all of the complicated setups comes out later, you know, when you know that the opponent knows all of the basic stuff. So like just do basic stuff like that until the opponent demonstrates to you that they're worthy of a more complicated setup, you know? But until then, just do this. It's easy, it's safe, gives you big damage, you know, so yeah, I would say use this way more. Pressure, so pressure as well, so we'll cover, like, stuff in neutral, too, like, because I'm going to talk about the other aspects of, like, pressure, right? So, like, let's see here. One second, I'm gonna look at the list again. I don't know, I don't feel like I gave, like, a good... Like, I don't think I feel like I gave a good thing on pressure, because a lot of that comes with, like, like, a lot... Like, you can start pressuring your opponent when, like, they have, like, let's see. Like, if, like, you want to know how to pressure your opponent, but let's take this one for example. Like, if they keep getting hit by this, you know, there's no reason to do any other setup, you know? Like, 5K to, like, this right here is, Oh, okay, yeah, just like Matt said, yeah, that's a good example of pressure. So, like, so, let's see, like, I don't know, like a block string is pressure, right? So, like, that to the... Okay, cool, alright, yeah. Like, this guy right here is pressure, right? But until they're respecting this guy right here, there's no need to pressure them with this thing right here. This thing is useless until they start respecting that guy right there. No, shoot, Matt, you could talk. I just wish that there wasn't any lag, because, like, by the time I'm like, okay, Matt said this, you know, like, 40 seconds has gone by. So yeah, so that's like an example of pressure right there. How to get better at pressure. So make your pressure more airtight so they can't mash out of it too. Like, like the stagger pressure comes in later when your opponent has shown you like he's more willing to block strings and not mash out of stuff, right? So that's when like this kind of pressure comes out, you know, when they're respecting stuff like that guy or respecting stuff like that. All right, so that's like I think that's a better take on pressure and how to get better at it. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna go up to the list. Okay, we're at the list again. Okay, so here's another thing. Okay, on the list for the list number 3, people who know the matchup. So here's the thing. How do you know that they know the matchup? Like, what would tell you, like, oh, this Kai knows, or this player knows how to fight Kai, right? So how would you know that if you're losing to, like, basic stuff like this? Like doing slow setups before your opponent, before you've earned your opponent's respect, right? Like, there's a difference between you doing stuff and losing to it, and your opponent, like, exploiting, like, Kai's weaknesses, you know? Like, there's a big difference there. So you need to know, like, which one is which, and you need to know what you're dealing with. So here's an example, of, what might happen if your opponent knows the Kai matchup. Let's say, let me see. Okay, so I'll just have him to block, right? So let's how do you know when somebody knows how to fight Kai? Well, like, one of the easiest ways to know if somebody knows what they're doing, particularly against Kai. Let's say, you know, I know that you love these strings, Goob. I've seen your games, right? And you'll do strings like this. People who know how to fight Kai will punish that move right there, Dire Eclat. They'll punish it optimally every time. They'll have an optimal punish for the Stun Dipper. They'll know about this move right here. They'll 6P you out of it. They know about your stun edge and charge stun edge. They'll like go over it at a very obvious time and hit you, and they'll counter hit you. You know, like, stuff like that's like the very basic of like knowing a matchup, is like just knowing the proper punishes for all the moves, right? So until somebody's like doing that, you know, they might not even know the matchup. You might just be like you might just be screwing yourself over by just not playing optimally, you know? So but let's say that. So let's say I play Caliber, right? Caliber is like a good example. He knows the Kai matchup. So you know what I never do to somebody who knows the Kai matchup? I rarely do that move right there unless I have meter to stop it. I never use that move. I never, like, if they're gonna block it, I do not use that as an ender, because Caliber will punish that with Stun Dipper all day. And I do the same thing back to him too. Whenever he does that, I'll make sure to tag him with that Stun Dipper as a punish, you know? So that's what it means to, like, know a matchup to some degree. Is, like, all of the minus stuff that Kai has, you take that and you, like, run with it. You know, like, I mean, like, you do that. That, to me, is like, oh, man, free damage. He doesn't have any meter to roam and cancel it to block. Free damage. I, like, Stun Dipper him out of it. So if you're playing and somebody knows the Kai matchup, that's your cue to stop doing this stuff that gives them free damage, you know? Like, hey, did you do that and they blocked it and they punish you, like, 2 times, 3 times in a row? That means that they know that that move is punishable, and that's your cue to stop using that move when they're not blocking. like people that don't know much about Kai, or maybe they don't know much about Guilty Gear, you can get away with stuff like this, you know, and that can give you bad habits because players who don't know any better will let you do this shit all day. Oh man, yeah, exactly what Booty Throw said. That's such a good point. Cause like we mentioned that earlier, right? Like there's a difference between knowing the matchup and somebody who just has a better, maybe they just have a decent flow chart, you know? And then like they're mashing out of all of your elaborate setups like this, and you're like, man, they know the matchup. They know that I want to do 2K to 6K, and they're mashing out of it. Well, and it's like, and what's more likely the case is that no, they don't know that. They just autopilot. They do 5P out of blocking anything, you know, not just this move, but they'll do 5P out of anything, you know, because they're so used to doing 5P and getting away with it, you know, mashing out of stuff. So, and that's how you should look at other matchups too, right? So, let's say you're playing Chaos or you're playing Zen, you know? Whenever you see this guy here, punish it with the Stun Dipper. You know, don't let them get away with that for free because that's punishable. Stun Dipper 2. The proper punish for Stun Dipper is this guy right here without meter. That'll all connect, and that's like your most optimal damage outside of using meter. So if they do a Stun Dipper on you, they don't have any meter to cancel it. Get your optimal punish down, and become that guy who knows how to fight Kais. Like whenever you fight a Kai and they Stun Dipper you, you're like, not in my house, and you hit them with that, you know, and if they keep Stun Dippering you, that's free damage for you. So I think that's pretty much all I want to say about knowing, people knowing the matchup, right? And I guess here that kind of ties into the thing that you said previously, right? So, how do you pressure opponents, particularly if they know the matchup, right? So, you can't do that. That's out because people who know how to fight Kai are gonna block that. So that's off the table right there. That's off the table right there. They know about this right there. They know about Fudra Arc, and also let's do this real quick. Okay. So they can 6P you out of that right there, right? But also look at this right here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh wait, I got him doing the wrong thing. Fudra Arc without without the shock state. That's off the table either, because that's not a frame trap. You're actually minus right there. And that's kind of like a bad habit that Caliber has, because he does this a lot, and this is what happens. I take my turn back by just jabbing him, right? So this is actually not a frame trap. So if your opponent does not have shock state, and you're using it to pressure like right in his face, that and you see that happening where they keep tagging you, even though you think it's your turn, that's your cue to stop doing that too, because that's not actually your turn. So, okay, so we got all that, right? So, like, that's like one of Kai's main weaknesses. He doesn't have any good, strong enders. They all take commitment to some degree, either at the end, where you get punished for it, or at the beginning, where they can 6P you out of it. So, let's talk about, we'll go back to pressure a little bit. That's why I'm, like, such a big fan of 5K right there, because you can jump cancel it. So, now let's consider this right here, right? So, let's see. I'm gonna just have him do stand-up. Stand-up P, right? So, right, see? So that doesn't work right there. But what about this right here? It does the same exact thing. It gives you your plus frames. Your clearing the hitbox so he can't even tag you. And also, even if you did an anti-air, you can still block it, right? So this is way like doing this guy right here and jumping is way less committal than doing these enders that are way more committal in nature, right? Does that make any sense? Does that make sense to you? You haven't said anything in the chat, but also I know that it's like hella laggy too. I'm just like waiting for the chat to show up here. Okay, you've been listening. Okay, cool. Alright, excuse me. Okay, cool. Alright, so, and you're following. Alright. So yeah, you asked about pressure. This guy right here. Make this your new pressure tool right here. Especially in the corner. See, look at that. That gives you plus frames. You know? See, doing this... Okay, I'm gonna have him do the low one again because that's like messing me up. Right, see, look at this right here. Okay. See, that doesn't work. But this right here, see, he can't mash you out of it, and he can also get hit, you know? See, that's a frame trap right there that would work. Just slightly delay the jab, because you're so plus right there. Or 5K too, that helps too. See, this is what I do in my games. I do this. This is my pressure right here. This is vision pressure 101. Because it's so non-committal, it gives you plus frames. It's better than that right there. It's better than Fuja Arc if they don't have the shock state. You can still block. You can block in the air. You can, and like when your opponent, like if you want, you can do this stuff right here too. Like how plus is it? I actually don't know how plus it is, but let's find out. So this guy right here is 10 frames. So let's give it a shot. Okay, so you're at least plus 10 right there. But it's kind of tight, I think. You need to have it like you need to like get the jumping heavy slash as close to the ground as possible to make sure you're plus frames, because if you do it higher up, it's gonna get stuffed. So it depends. Doing that, like, I mean, I guess like I would still stick with that, just because it's way easier to execute. This one here is gonna like you get way more off of it, but you got the timing's a little bit tighter. You need to be a little bit cleaner. But yeah, so that's the thing. There you go. You're at least plus 10. You know, Fuja Arc doesn't give you plus 10. Fuja Arc gives you -1 to like +8, depending on like shock state and like dragon install and all that stuff. Okay, I'm feeling the juices right now. I'm like, okay, now we're like getting into like stuff that I use so regularly. So there you go, Goob. You got some new pressure tools outside of this stuff right here. So, and I think this will serve you way better, because it's like way harder for your opponent to fight his way out of this, because it's so non-committal in nature. And also, you're doing all this stuff like it's still your turn. Like your plus frames, hey, it's my turn. I'm gonna keep looping it. It's my turn again. You know, stuff like that. Like it's your turn until like they get out of this, or you decide to end it. You know, you decide to pull the trigger on your block string. Right? So there you go. There's that. You got stuff like this too, which is pretty cool. Caliber's really good at doing this kind of stuff right here. Once you rinse that 8,000 times, then you can do other stuff. Well, what is? I mean, yeah, I think Matt's right. I just want to make sure that I understood exactly what he said. But like, yeah, like this is like, yeah, like when you're doing this right here. See how this is another thing. This is pressure right here. How, you know, hey, I'm doing this stupid, obnoxious loop where I end in plus frames, and then I'm like canceling my 5K, so you can't you can't jab me out of it, you know, because I'm canceling the move, or I'm canceling the lag frames, right? So this is pressure right here. And you can keep doing this and see how they react to it and how they try and get out, you know? So there you go, there's pressure right there. And this happens too, like, you're right on top of them, right? So a lot of times, you can do stuff like this. You don't even need, if they're blocking, you don't need to collect the plus frames. You can just land and grab them. That's an empty jump grab right there, right? And that's another form of pressure, like, hey, he blocked this thing like 2 times in a row. Okay, third time I jump, I'm just not even going to do the jumping heavy slash and grab his ass, right? But it all starts with this right here and just, like, knowing how they react to it. Okay, so I think I covered that. I think that one was... Yeah, yeah. Matt knows how obnoxious I play. Okay, how to retreat. Shanta said something, but I couldn't hear what she said. Okay, so how to retreat. That's kind of like a weird question. How to retreat. So first of all, let's cover the premise here. You don't want to be retreating infinitely because you're gonna lose your meter, right? No, that's fine. I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna like cover it as best I can in the best context of Guilty Gear Strive and how it might apply to you. Okay, that was like how to escape if shit gets bad during a string or pressure. Okay, so this is something that I started. I never said. Oh, I guess there's like a discussion going on. I didn't see anything about surrendering. Okay, so I guess when you said what you meant by a retreat is actually like how to get out of stuff. Okay, well, let's look at your options. What kind of pressure are we talking about? Because, like, a lot of that comes with knowing the frame data. And also, sometimes there's not much you can do but eat the mix-up. Literally, that's all you can do. Like Nagoriyuki's string, what is it? His slash string, right? Where he can do 3 attacks. Like Nagoriyuki's like a really good example, you know? Sometimes it really is almost like a coin toss. And that's why you don't want to be blocking to begin with, because, you know, the Nagoriyuki gets to decide on when he gets to pull the trigger, you know? So, you know, remember that 3 attack block string? I think it's just a standing SSS. And on the second hit, he takes a giant instep and he's right in front of your face. Now, when he does that, he's like hella minus, but also he has the third attack to pull the trigger for people who try and mash out of it. And for people who block, he has a freaking command grab, right? So sometimes, like, stuff like that, you just need to eat the mix-up. And the actual answer to stuff like that is to not be placed in that situation to begin with. Because that's like a loot, it's like a loot, it's not in your favor for you to be blocking that stuff and have to mash out and risk getting counter hit or block and then get command grab by Nagoriyuki where he's like still on top of you, right? So that's why it's like important to know frame data, so when you know, like when somebody's doing block strings, you know, like, hey, this is fraudulent, I can mash out of it, you know, just like that right there. I was thinking in the context of like dire eclat. I still don't get it. Oh, okay. So yeah, bleh. But as far as mashing out, you already know the best tools, like using moves like Dire Eclat and backing away, but since it's punishable, there's not much I can do anyways. Like using moves like Dire Eclat and backing away, but since it's punishable, there's not much I can do. Yeah, so you don't want to be doing this move. Like, that would be a bad habit to just be using this move, you know? Like, the hitbox is really not that good. Despite like the animation, like that right there, that didn't even hit him, you know, like the hitbox is like really shit on that move, despite the animation. So you don't want to be doing that. Your best defensive tools, like for retreating, let's say, maybe you're in the neutral and you're like trying to retreat a little bit, you know, you're trying to space your opponent out. This guy right here, these two moves are like really good. I gave Caliber a freaking headache yesterday by just being super obnoxious in neutral and just doing shit like that. Because, once again, they're very non-committal in nature, right? They're very fast, they have really good hitboxes, you're in the air, you know, so you can block if you want, you know, they're non-reactable, you know, so doing this stuff is, like, really good. But as far as, like, getting out of strings, you can DP your way out if you have, like, a read, you know? You can 6P your way out. You can 5P or 2P your way out. And also, what you can do is this right here. I just learned this recently. Oh, whoop! Oh, he blocked it. Whoops. Okay, Matt said something. Yellow Roman cancel for those really bad situations where you don't want to guess. Yeah. Yellow Roman cancel is amazing too if you got the meter. Also, here a bit of information: yellow Roman cancel. Any Roman cancel kills Eddie if you're fighting Zato 1 as well. So that's like really good. But I want to show something with the yellow Roman cancel as well that I just learned like yesterday. Okay, so he couldn't block it, right? So that they get hit by that. Oops. What you can do? Grab them, because there's no grab and vulnerability on the yellow Roman cancel. I gotta work on the timing, but I was doing it like just like that right there, right? That's a good way to do it right there. Because you know, like when you normally like on wake up and on block, they have that 5 frames of grab and vulnerability where you can't grab them and your grab will whiff if you grab too early. They don't get that from yellow Roman cancel. So I've been doing that recently where I yellow Roman cancel and I just run up and grab them. Okay, I'm gonna look at the list once more. Let's see. Okay, neutral stuff. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so we're talking about neutral now. Okay, I made a whole video on the neutral. Or no, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm working on a video on the neutral. I forgot. That video is not actually out yet. But, so let's talk about, okay, so let's talk about the neutral. So, to have a better neutral, let's go back to the first video I made. I made about, like, newer and intermediate players, you know? Because this applies to the neutral. So, first thing about neutral is understanding what you have. What moves do you have? What do you have in your toolbox? Because, like, in different parts of the neutral, you have different tools to use, where some tools will be really good and some tools you don't want to use, right? Like, if you're out here, like, a tool like this is kind of useless, right? Because you're so far away, and if your opponent is spacing, you know, they might tag you doing stuff like this, right? So stuff like this becomes really useless. But what about this guy right here? That's really good in that range because he takes a giant instep, right? And once again, it's it's not punishable, right? We're gonna force a counter hit, right? So once again, like from out here, like I was doing this to Caliber and I had quite a bit of success, you know, where I was like spacing around in here and I was trying to wait for him to come in. And sometimes he would come in and bam! See, look at the freaking range on that. That's so good, right? And then you get and then it's a counter hit, and then you get your combo that carries to the wall and blah blah blah. So right, so this move is like really good way out here, you know, where like this part of the neutral, and you're like kind of anticipating your opponent to come in. You have this stuff too, right? You can do that, but sometimes, like, if you're, like, really predictable, you know, your opponent's just gonna hit you out of it, right? And that's kind of why I like this guy right here, because it's, like, deceptively long range, and it's just really good. Same thing out in this distance too, right? You're fighting your opponent, and maybe they're, like, spacing you. They're doing the same thing. They're trying to play footsies with you. Bam! Right there, right? If they're moving like this, they're not blocking, you know? And it's really hard to react to that. So, like, way out here, Stun Dipper becomes a little bit... It becomes better in the neutral when you know... Because you can see that the opponent's not blocking, right? If you see your opponent standing, like, hey, he's not blocking low, do it, right? But if they're, like, really... Maybe they do stuff like this, right? If they're, like, blocking to check it, then you don't want to do it, because then they might block it. Alright, but if you don't see him, like, respecting the range of this move, you know, that's a good opener right there. Another thing with using this move in the neutral, if they're doing this shit right here to you, do not do that in the neutral, because it's gonna whiff, and you're probably gonna eat shit for it, you know? If they're jumping and doing all kinds of weird stuff like that, if you're fighting a Millie or something, and she already likes to be in the air anyway, you know? You don't want to be doing that in neutral, because she's not going to be there when you do it, probably. Let's see, more neutral stuff. You got your stun edge. You've got your have this. Once again, it's the same thing, you know. Like, cause you're like moving and maybe you're throwing this stuff out. Maybe you're like contesting space. Maybe you're using this stuff in the neutral too, right? I started doing this recently, where I'll just be really obnoxious and just cover space, right? To basically tell my opponent, like, hey, you can't air dash in on me because I'm like throwing these fast non-committal hitboxes at you, right? So when they play more grounded, like if you're paying attention, this is when you can do stuff like this, right? That's when this stuff becomes more applicable in the neutral, because they're less likely to jump over it, because you're like constantly contesting this space right in front of you in the air, which makes them not want to jump in and air dash in and try and hit you. So let's see, what else do we got in the neutral here? Other neutral tools from way back here. You got that too from like way back here. This is pretty good. So like, yeah, so like when you're way out here, Kai has different tools, but when you're way up here, Kai has some good tools too. He has a good 5P, he has a good 2P, and you know all about that, right? So like, you got, you know, when you're in this area here in the neutral, you know, this is where this thing becomes applicable again, you know, because now you're in range. If you're in range for 5K, then there you go. That's like, you know, you're kind of like where you want to be as far as like your most non-committal stuff, right? Because all of this stuff is not very non-committal in nature. So, and once again, for the neutral, you got this stuff right here. So like, considering the frame data for this guy comes out in like 8 frames. It comes out in 8 frames, I think. What's the frame data? I can't remember the frame data exactly, but this guy comes out very fast. Has like 20 frames of cooldown time, I think. And on, like, when you land on top of them with it, like right before you land, it gives you plus frames. Now, that's better than some of his moves in neutral. That's, like, better than this guy right here in a lot of ways, you know? Because this guy here, by itself, is very limiting. It's punishable on block, and you're limited to your typical string enders that are also very committal. This guy right here has similar frame data in some degree, to some degree. Like, it has similar startup frames and similar recovery frames. Like whiff recovery, not like block recovery. But it's also like safe on block. They can't block punish it. It gives you plus frames. If they jump over to that move too, you're in trouble. Which, oh my god. I'm guessing this one. I'm thinking Matt might be talking about this guy right here. Yeah, if they jump over it, it's slow on recovery. So that's not good. Like, it has the same recovery as this one here, but yeah, like, yeah, like it has like the same recovery, but you're in the air. It's like oh, there's Damon. There's Prophet. So yeah, like, I just wanted to highlight this move right here. This move right here is also so good. It's like super fast. It's really fast. Way less recovery. Like, this one here has like 21 frames of recovery or something. This one has way less. So like, he has like really good aerials, and some of them are better than like his heavy slashes and stuff, right? So I think that was like a hopefully that was like a good good talk on the neutral. Like in my video that I'm doing right now, I was gonna start off like in the neutral. You don't want to be like doing high committal stuff when there's no need to, you know? Like, why? Like this is really committal. So why would you be outside of like a block string? Or I'm sorry, like outside of a combo, or if you're like purposely using this to like raise his risk gauge, or if like you're doing stuff like this, like, why would you use this? It's like, I don't think it's like really committal in nature, but meanwhile this stuff right here has similar frame data and it's like not near as committal. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's like the whole thing. I'm like trying to give you, cause like, I don't know, like there's like something like you really like Kai and you really like the game and you're really trying to hit Celestial. So I feel like there's something fundamental that's missing, because like I got to the Celestial promotion like so easily just by using this basic stuff right here, right? Like, I wasn't doing like these huge combos or these crazy setups, you know, like stuff like this that maybe you're labbing. Like, you know, you don't need all of that stuff to get into Celestial. Just keep it, you know, keeping it simple and basic and fundamental I think is the way to go. Anytime you'd 5H in neutral, you probably should just far slash. Yeah, exactly. Cause this guy, it's safer on block than this guy here. Has better recovery. And then also like, it's like a better poking tool. It has like maybe like a slightly less range, but yeah, I would, like in the neutral, I wouldn't really use that, but we're just using that as like an analogy or whatever, right? As like a comparison. I'm not saying that you use this move. I don't think you do, but yeah, see, there you go. Damon says the same thing. Keep it simple until you have a reason not to. That's exactly like the point that I was trying to nail in earlier. You know, don't overcomplicate stuff. Like I kind of feel like it might be the case for you that you are like getting lost in the sauce, where you're in the lab and you're practicing these crazy setups that aren't very applicable at all because you're not recognizing. There's like you're like giving your opponent way too much respect that they haven't earned. If that makes any sense, you know, like why would you do this crazy setup when they're just getting hit by that shit all day? All right, so yeah, so those are some tools that you can start using in the neutral, right? So if you're spacing out here, you know, this guy becomes really good. It's like he takes a giant instep. And sometimes in the neutral, hey, what if your opponent is Unga Bunga and they're just fucking doing this shit to you all day? Like, yeah, I like to go in and mash buttons, you know? Like, you know, in that case, you could just let them hang themselves, just 6P their ass all day, you know? Like, hey, chill out, right? Because, like, you know, you're playing your neutral, and maybe you can't use this in the neutral because your opponent's always just in your face, you know? He's always just air dashing at you, and if he air dashes and you do that, it's gonna whiff and you're gonna eat shit, right? So that's, once again, that's your cue to pay attention. Like, hey, is this dude constantly like air dashing? Then just 6P him. That's all you got to do. That's like another thing where like here's an example where I was playing Caliber. After block. This is what Caliber was doing, and my tick throws were not working. So I would do this. Caliber fucking loves to do that. I'll like tag him, and then I'll go for my tick throw, and he's like almost never there. And then like one set I played, like the set later, like another set down the road, I started doing this, right? And I remember JK Longsack in the group was like, man, I've never seen so many air throws. But that's just because I was paying attention to this happening right here. I was like, every time I fucking grab, he's never there. He's literally never there. He's always in the air, you know, and he's like coming down on me with the fucking jumping heavy slash, right? And like, if you're paying attention, like, it sucks. I hate seeing that. You know, it's like a freaking, like, I don't know how to explain it. It sucks. So I started doing this. I just started hard reading his jump, and, you know, I started being like, hey, okay, you can't just do that for free. I'm just going to jump up and grab you, right? So. Alright, so what's next on the list? Stuff Vision learned. Okay, okay, so you're gonna have to kind of clarify there, because I, like, learned a lot of stuff, right? No, not tonight, Damon. After this stream, I'm gonna call it a night, because I'm tired. And been, like, working all day, and now I'm, like, talking. I'm kind of, like, I'm gonna go relax after this, so I'll play it later on, though, for sure. But not tonight, though. I think I'm gonna be in for the night after the stream. I am dodging. I've only fought in one Zato 1 that was as good as Damon's. Like, in the entirety of this game. Like, I fucking bop Zato 1s. Damon's is, like, the best one that I played. No, I don't need to go to sleep. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm just like, you know, after the stream, I'm gonna be, I'm just not down to play it right now. Like Matt said, I'm dodging Damon. I'm dodging for the night. Okay, so, okay, so like, so this is like one of my favorite setups right here. Just because it's cool, and this is like as technical as I get, alright? Alright, so this is as technical as I get as far as like purple Roman cancel. Check this out! Oh, I can't even do it. There you go, that's my purple my Roman cancel tech right there. That's as technical as I get, but it's simple because it's like, I mean, it has a mix-up built right in, right? So if they If they mash, this thing hits them right here, right? And if they duck, it'll hit them as well, right? So that's like kind of like a mix-up. They need to block it standing. They can't block it crouching. So that's like a setup I like to use sometimes. And if they're in the if they're like blocking, and I know that they are blocking, like I've now got their respect, I'll do this one instead. Instead of doing a normal slash, I'll do the cancel it into the heavy slash into grab, and they can't, they never see it coming. All right, so. So that's like a roaming cancel thing right there. When we're talking to Caliber or maybe Long Sack or somebody, this guy is like really good to, I don't know, Caliber is really good at using the blue roaming cancel. He's like way better at using it than I am, because I'll like come in and then like he'll use it and he'll put himself in like a way better position to like fucking counter hit me or something, right? Where he wouldn't normally be able to. So he's like really good at using that. I actually don't have a lot of experience using the blue roaming cancel yet, so I can't really talk much on that. Let's see. I'm just gonna go on, I'm telling you a lot of what I learned already, so I'm gonna go on to the the stuff that I learned. This is something that I learned too. This stupid obnoxious thing right here, that's like something that I learned myself. I didn't see anybody else doing that. I just picked it up myself, just being like, you know what? I don't like doing these committal attacks and losing my turn all the time, and I don't like always getting 6P'd out of my fucking Fudra arc, or landing a Fudra arc and then getting mashed out of my pressure because they didn't have shock state, so I do this instead because I think it's just really complements everything else that Kai can do. Okay. Oh, what is that? What is this one here, Goob? Floor's pressure? I'm gonna wait for you to like clarify what this one is, because earlier we talked about pressure. So what is floor's pressure? I don't like Jacko's song. Get out of here. Oh, okay, yeah. So, you know what? Okay, so, Goob, this is where maybe we have different philosophies, because, I have, general anxiety, and I also drink coffee and stuff, so that doesn't help. So, my philosophy here is that's one of the reasons why I grind ranked, or grind park all the time, because I can play, I can have fun, I can learn, and I can get bopped, and then I don't have that ranked anxiety, That's one of the reasons why I kind of stay away from ranked, particularly because of the anxiety. And when I get home, I'm like, I don't feel like, I'm coming home to learn and have fun. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm ready to grind some rank, but generally, I tend to avoid it, particularly because of anxiety and stuff like that. So if you want to think about it, Yeah, like Damon said, you can, it's a problem with any game. It's not just this game. A lot of people have it, right? It might happen in your tests, when you're in school. That's the exact same philosophy I had, and that you instilled in me. As someone who used to have horrible rank anxiety, I just pushed through it in League until I eventually got to the whole point where it was nothing. Or you can just avoid it altogether, obviously, but that doesn't get you anywhere. It won't get you in real life bracket. And Matt says, yeah, I think everyone kind of has to learn what works best for their mental state when dealing with pressure from ranked or tournament. Yeah, so, the thing that works for me is to just always think I'm really bad so my ego doesn't get in the way. Yeah, Matt and I were talking about this over the phone one time, and that's like such a good way to look at it, you know? It's like, because it really is just your ego. Like, ego for me is what causes pressure and the awfulness from losing to someone I view as worse than me. Yeah, like, I remember, I ended up calling Matt one night because I was already on tilt from, like, a shit day at work, and, like, I lost to this Leo, who just made me even more mad. And the thing was, like, before I played this guy, he was, like, level 60, and I was, like, level 80, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take my shitty day out on this guy. And that is not what happened. He ended up fucking bopping me. And that just made it worse, you know. I was so mad. I was so mad that I had to call Matt. You know, that's how freaking mad I was. So one thing that you can do to change your philosophy for ranked is take a little break from it. Right, we're talking about all this, and this is a lot of information. Do not go into ranked just after watching this video because you're gonna get bopped. You need to go into park, and then you need to improve your frame traps. You need to improve your flow charts. You know, so it's just natural. It's just stuff that you don't even think about anymore. You just do it naturally, right? So you need to get all that stuff down, and then I would say, then go into ranked. And see how much you've improved, you know, like, look at it as a test, you know? You know, like a test to see how much you learned or whatever, you know? So, also, unironically, therapy, if that's available, it's not something specific to video games, so it'll come up in other aspects even if you don't, but that's a lot harder to do, so muscle memory, confidence in your lowest level of play. Yeah, that's like the muscle memory thing. Like that's kind of like what I was saying just a second ago. Where like work on your flow charts. You know, the stuff that you don't even think about. Make sure they're airtight. Like that right there is, you know, that's like a flow chart right there. You know, like I mean, it really is a flow chart. Hey, do this. Are they blocking? Okay, well, grab, you know? Did they block? Like, you can do this. Like, here's a flowchart right here that's, like, really simple. 5K by itself. It starts with the flowchart, right? Did they mash? Okay, like, you know the little silly flowchart meme. Like, you do this and they block it. Did they block it? Yes. Then what's next on the flowchart? Did they mash? If they mashed, okay, well, you do that. If they blocked it and did they mash? No. Then you grab them, you know, and that's pretty much the flowchart. It's like, it's as simple as that right there. Because if they try and jump, they're going to get hit by that too, I think. You know, it's going to connect, so. Okay, so what's next? Okay, so, unfortunately, I'm just going to go ahead and skip the Chip and Nagoriyuki stuff right now, like the match-specific stuff, because I'm not too familiar with those matchups. Chip is, like, my worst matchup right now, and he's, like, I played a lot of fighting games, and I don't think I've hated a character as much as Chip, you know? Like, I can't stand him. Like, I really hate him. Now, maybe we can learn about the matchup in this way, where, like, well, what would I do? Like, I know that I got stuff that I need to do in the Chip matchup. I need to fight more Chips, and I need, what I would do, generally, is I would go to the lab and just see what in the hell is blowing me up. I know he has that fucking overhead kick thing where he's, like, wide open, and he hits you, and it's an overhead, you know, and I never fucking block it. But that move is, like, hella minus on block, you know, so you gotta punish it optimally because Chip takes damage like a baby. I don't know, yeah. Nagoriyuki, I'm like way more comfortable with Nagoriyuki, even though I don't know the matchup. Like, I'm not like a Nagoriyuki expert or anything, but like the fact that he can't dash and he can't air dash kind of means that I get to play footsies a little bit with him. And another thing too, like, so this is another thing with Nagoriyuki. Recently, I saw the match with Punk, who plays Soul Bad Guy, and Hotashi, who plays Nagoriyuki. He won Evo with Nagoriyuki, and they had some beef, and like Punk beat him in the first to 15 money match or whatever. And Punk was like, "You're trash. You're garbage, bro. Don't be talking to me. You're trash." First of all, like, you need to stop whiffing with Nagoriyuki, you know? So apparently in the match, this Evo champion, online Evo champion, Nagoriyuki main, apparently was whiffing a shit ton, you know? And this guy's like one of the best in the world, you know? Imagine like the normal Nagoriyukis that you play and rank, you know? They're probably whiffing way more than that dude, you know? So, yeah, there's stuff like that. Okay, and we're at the last thing of the list. Fudra Arc Refresher. Did we cover that or no? Do you want me to go over that again, Goob? I mean, you put it at the end of the list, and we kind of covered, Fudra Arc, but we can go over it again. Oh man, also, so Damon would be so proud of me because in like the Discord, there was a dude in there. I can't remember who it was. I can't remember who I got. But, like, I was like, hey, have you ever had... Like, this dude, I was like, hey, have you ever had Aldi's? and he responded with a question mark. And I got to say, all these nuts in your mouth. And I was like, man, I wish I should have screenshotted it for Prophet, because... I could have made Prophet's day that day. I would have made him very proud. Okay, if you don't mind, I've been kind of conditioned not to use it anymore. So Goob. Okay, so yeah, so I think that's a good thing. I've been conditioned to not use this move either. Because okay, so let's look, why would we not use this move? You know, what are the cons to it? Let's consider the cons of Fudra Arc. Let's consider the pros and cons, rather. Okay. Alright. Alright, so, cons to Fudra Arc. Now, you see this movement, and, like, maybe you have this idea that it's like, you know, like, oh yeah, I use this for pressure loops. You know, if my opponent blocks it, that means I'm plus and I get to keep pressing buttons. And it's like, nope, this is actually way more committal than you think it is. See, check this out, right? So we already went over this. He doesn't have shock state, and so that means you can't 2P him out of it. You're gonna lose. And you lose, you're gonna lose, and you're gonna lose frame advantage. You know, maybe if your opponent's on top of it, you're actually just gonna get comboed. Now, here's another thing. This is another reason why it's bad. Fudra Arc, making them block Fudra Arc. You can't even jump. See, I'm trying to jump right there. You can't even jump to continue pressure. See? Like, he's doing a low, he's doing a 2P, and look at that. You can't even mash out of it after he blocks it. You can't jump out of it either. So automatically, that's like really bad, right? So like, I kind of feel, I don't know why, but that's like a thing where people think like, oh, this is so good if they block it. It's not. You can't jump, and you can't mash out of it. But if they have that on them, then maybe they can. See, now you actually have the frames. You have the plus frames necessary to clear the hitbox, right? So, but we're like talking about if they don't have shock state, because that's, you know, sometimes people just throw that out willy-nilly, you know, and they just end their turn. So those are like two huge cons right there, especially for like doing your pressure, right? Because how are you supposed to pressure when you're minus? You know, and then they're right on top of you. So yeah. Yeah, now I'm like, man, let me watch me get freaking bodied by Matt and Damon now. Like, I got to a point where I was like, man, my Kai is so freaking nasty. And now watch, they're just gonna, like, blow me up by watching my own stream. Yeah, well, now you know, the proof is in the pudding. You can't, Kai can't even mash out of it. So, yeah. Oh yeah, well you haven't played in a while, so but I'm like still scared of Angie. His neutral game to me just seems like it's gonna be so much scarier now. So there you go, Goob. Those are like two huge cons for that, you know. So unless they have stock state, or unless they're like over here and you're over here, and you're kind of like you see them jumping. And you think that an air dash is coming, and you just want to, like, commit to it, you're like, hey, I have a hard read. I'm going to, like, you know, like, it's a good anti-air, right? So, that's where it's good, right? Yeah, Damon's, yeah, that's profit, baby. So let's talk about some of the pros right here, right? So, that's a pro. It's a great anti-air. You got your opponent in the corner. And, you know, maybe you're thinking like, hey, he's going to try and jump out, you know. I don't know how many times I've gotten sick counter hits, you know, off of that because they're trying to jump and they're trying to air dash out. Here's another thing with this move right here. We're going to go back a second and we're going to consider the blocking it, right? So this is bad. But what about all the way over here? This changes the frame data when you do it and they block it all the way over there. If it connects. Okay, maybe not. I could have sworn. See, oh, there you go. See it right there, right? See, it changes it by like a frame, right? You can make this maybe plus or minus 0. See, like, so from this distance right here, it might be a little bit better because you're at least plus or minus 0 and you're not gonna get tagged out of it, right? So if you're gonna be using it and they don't have stock state, the reason you should be doing it is maybe they're like up here and you know, they're jumping and you're gonna try and anti-air them, or maybe, you know, you can like initiate and like be plus or minus 1, but see, it's like you gotta be like just perfect, otherwise it's not gonna work. Okay, well anyway, I'm not. You guys already saw it, so I'm not gonna go over that one. But yeah, so that's the pro. Those are like the pros as far as like neutral go, and for this guy right here. So Goob. So if they, I think the thing that you should learn from this is, as a Kai player, you don't want to be giving up your turn by doing this. Excuse me. You don't want to be giving up your turn doing this in their face, right? You lose your turn, you can't jump, right? But also on the flip side, I know you play Zen all the time. This should be your cue every time you see him do that and you don't have shock state, bam, you know, mash out of it. You know, because if he tries to hit a button after you block it, your 2P is gonna win. Now I would say even, you know, like just hard read it, like, hey, he does Fudra arc, you know, have this ready to go, you know. Don't just like tag him and be like and contest your turn. Just be like, hey, you know, I know you're gonna press a button even though you're -1, so bam, blow him up with that thing right there, you know, just unload the whole fucking combo on him. Oh, okay, yeah, so Damon brought up a good point too. Because Zato has his what is his 2P? his 2P, is it 6 frames or is it 5? I can't remember. Because if Zato's 2P is 6 frames, then yeah, you can, that'll actually like clash, I think. Because Kai's is 5 frames, not 6 frames. And some characters like Zato and Milia, they have like way slower jabs than some characters. Okay, so never mind. Zato, I guess, can like 2P his way out of it too if he wanted to, because of the frame data. Okay, and that's the list. So, yeah, I hopefully you learned so much. Like, I hope, like, I'm at this point, I just want to get you to Celestial, and I think the way that I'm gonna try and help you is to basically just like go back to the fundamentals and go back to the basics, you know. So that means no crazy setup stuff, you know, no crazy Roman cancel stuff, you know, all that jazz. No full meter combos that do like 300 damage, because that stuff right now is not practical, right? So we're gonna go back to the more, like, maybe it's not as cool, you know? Maybe it's not as cool looking. Nobody's gonna be like, oh man, he did this basic bread and butter combo. This guy is so good. But you know what? That's what's gonna get you to climb. That's what's gonna get you to Celestial without much trouble at all. You know, that's gonna be way more applicable than doing this crazy 300 damage combo that requires like 2 bars of meter and a wall break, right? So. Okay, cool. Alright, man, I'm so glad that this was really helpful, and I'm like also so glad that Matt and Damon popped in. That was like a great surprise. And the gamer bun. The gamer bun, the wife actually went to the room, but she's still somehow here in the chat. I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Nobody gives a shit if you did this cool combo, but if they got the fucking rank up and you got demoted, you know, who actually won? Okay. Any more questions? I mean, I can still chill and hang out. But if you guys are done, then I'm done. But I don't have to go anywhere. I don't know. Also, I kind of don't want to play anybody right now. I might get performance anxiety. That might be like a thing for later on. You know, maybe I'll like stream some of my games later, and you can see me like applying this stuff. But right now, I kind of have performance anxiety. I'm tired. You know, my voice is like starting to hurt. Oh, here's another thing too. Like another thing too, like just your in general decision making and commitment. So, okay, I'm like reading the chat now. Sorry, Damon, but hey, I'm on vacation on next week. We'll play soon. But one thing, here's another thing, Goob, real quick. This is something like, well, hopefully, maybe this can help you out. Okay, let's set it to block, and we're gonna set him to do something. Alright, so okay, so let's cover this real quick, right? Let's talk about some decision making real quick. Now, obviously Kai has like a wake up DP, which is like really good, right? But this is something that I've learned. So now I'm gonna give you my excuse me, I'm like burping. Oh, I don't know. Isn't Slayer like, he has like Rekkas and stuff? Like, I remember that. I just picked him that night at Momo's place because I was like, hey, he looks cool. And I was like kind of like going through like what he has, and I thought he had like Rekka stuff, and I'm not like a big fan of like Rekka moves, so I don't know. Yeah, I like fucking love Kai. I love Kai because he's just like fucking Balrog and Super Turbo. Like, God, I fucking love him. But okay, so decision making, right? So let's talk about this. Okay, I'm gonna read what Damon has to say about Rekus in a second, but I'm not getting sidetracked. So Goob, this happens, right? Your wake up combo. So that's like something that happens to me right there, right? Like you do your wake up, and maybe your opponent blocks it. So this is like a thing with decision making. You got to be paying attention to this kind of stuff. Like if your opponent has demonstrated to you that he knows about wake up DP and he's gonna try and like make you do it, especially like in this area where like his back is to the wall, you might need to think about it, because look at that, right? I've done that before where now, hey, now guess what? He gets a fucking counter hit combo, and then he gets a wall break, so that's big damage, and then he also snowballs because he gets positive bonus on his meter, right? All because you did this guy and put yourself in the corner, right? So sometimes like there's stuff like that too, where you just gotta be like, you gotta think like, hey, well, what's better? Should I just eat the mix-up, or do I risk, having him bait... See, just like that right there. Risk having that baited out, and then now you're in the corner, and then you just allow your opponent to snowball because of that, right? So just stuff like that all the time you gotta be aware of. That's kind of like a positioning thing, too. That's like positioning and also conditioning, where your opponent... You need to be paying attention to how your opponent reacts when he knocks you down. Like if he this is like, I'm sure a lot of guys are doing that right now, right? So that might be your cue. Sometimes you can do this. I've gotten away with this before. I've gotten that on fucking wake up before. But that's only after they've already shown me that they like to sit right in front of me and block the DP. But I've done that where they like knock me down, I just get up and I fucking grab them, right? But you would never do that if they're always getting hit by the wake up DP. There's like simple, very simple, basic knowledge checks that you need to be paying attention to. Okay, is that it? I think, man, I was like talking and you guys are like talking in the chat about fucking Slayer, and I can't even read it. How do I read the chat? How do I go up? I don't know how to read the chat. Oh yeah, it's like I figured you guys are listening, but like this is funny, them talking about Slayer. Okay, so is that it, Goob? Or do you guys want to talk about anything else? I don't know. This is something that I learned yesterday too, right? How scrubby of me right here. So I would always like cross myself up, doing the air dash. But you can only your move only auto corrects after the air dash animation is gone, right? If you do it too soon, then he's not gonna do it. See? So that's like a thing. That's like a thing that I learned just recently, and I think it was Chaos or Zen, Zen or Chaos who said that you can like cancel. You can cancel the air dash with a faultless defense, and it'll turn you around. But I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I don't know. I can't even do it, so I don't know. Matt, didn't you know the new Venom is Jacko? That's the new Venom. That would be so funny. Like freaking Damon like going to Jacko and being like, nah, that's not me. And then Matt's like, oh yeah, Jacko, he plays just like Venom. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for now. My neck is like hurting because I'm like leaning over to talk into the microphone. Let's see. I think that's it for now. Yeah, so... Okay, so I guess just to recap, especially about, like, the mentality thing, Goob, so, like... I would say specifically for your anxiety, because like I get that shit too, you know? Like I don't get it near as bad in Strive, but I get it like really bad in Tekken. I get it to the point where, and like not just like ranked, but like in tournament too. Like I can play melee in bracket and I'm fine, but Tekken in bracket for some reason it just drives my anxiety crazy, you know? So, but I would say to just improve your skills, hone your skills, and practice implementing all of this stuff that we just talked about tonight. Maybe give it like a week or something, you know, and just see how your play improves. And then go back to ranking, give yourself a chance to play at ranked again, you know? Maybe take a little break, improve your skills, and even if you go back into ranked and you have, you start getting your rank anxiety, I think a lot of your basic flowcharts will be better anyway. So even though you're nervous, you'll still be playing a lot better, because just by nature of your frame, your basic frame traps and shit, it's still gonna carry you despite your anxiety, you know. Okay, cool. All right. Well, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for coming in. Thanks, Goob and Matt and Damon and everybody and I know there was like a couple of other people who showed up. I don't know how long they stayed, but this was a lot of fun. So I'll probably do more stuff like this, more as like filler for like my other video projects. You know, I'm gonna try and make that neutral guide video where I can cover neutral in like the video and like an in-depth kind of thing, kind of like the first video I made. And then I'll do stuff like this as little mini projects, and just because just so I can have content coming out, and also they're just like really fun to do. Okay, cool. All right, I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna end the stream now. All right. The simple stuff harder to fuck up when nervous. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's like the point of like simple stuff like that, because it's kind of hard to fuck that up, you know. So okay, all right, cool. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to end the stream.